Make sure it's strong using my version. I can use any other version you want, but we used my version here. So we just muscle test them with their name. They should be strong. When you touch the spot, then they should go weak, okay, if they're in a healthy state. Then if they are thinking about some issue that they've been dealing with, some difficult issue, maybe this is already cleared out through here, so when they do the test, it may be strong. Now whether it's strong or weak, if they come across and touch right about here, just above the ribs. So this part of the hand will go just above the ribs, right there. Just use the palm of the hand, and then retest. Now if they're touching that spot and they go weak, well, we know physically at least there's an issue that's going on that needs to be resolved with that issue. We have certain products here, at least one should give a strong result. At least one of those, okay? So your job is find it.
So if you're already going through the detox of a different system, for example, we're working on the gallbladder and liver for me,
Right.
would it be preferable to wait until that's clear before you add another?
What I'm seeing is spleen and possibly pancreas, but certainly spleen is supreme. We need to work with that first. Then we can go to liver, gallbladder, then we can go to some of the others. So this will only help. What we're doing tonight will only help. Okay? That's what I was shocked. Okay, when this information came, I was shocked that it would be like that. Okay? Good question.
So it would be in addition to, or delay the other one until you do this?
You can do them both. If your body is strong enough to do both, I would do them both. It'll only be that much faster we get to the right results. Okay? But you'll know. You'll know. Okay? I mean, if everything's been cleared out, not going to be an issue.
One more question.
Sure.
And why is it good to work with someone that you're not with? For example, if we work with each other at home and we practice, then why would we not want to practice that?
Good question. Okay. Come on. What's the answer?
Too close to the situation?
Close to the situation, that's true.
More experience.
More experience. We need experience. We need not just to practice, but we've got to practice on different people. Everyone's different. We have to understand those differences. Okay? Yeah. All right? Yeah, so don't make it easy. Don't make it safe. And I don't care what happens here, I want you to practice. Okay? David? David? Since you're very good with muscle testing, could you help me also? Maybe go around and watch what people are doing. David is very good with muscle testing. He's a chiropractor, so you can ask him any questions about muscle testing. Oh, no?
I like the sound of that.
I do too.
So since I wasn't here last week, could you go through again what we're going to test and how we're going to do it? We're going to have an issue. We're going to bring an issue to mind.
Okay. Sure. Can I have you? No. It'd be easier if I just show.
Okay.
So just go back to the system. Now we can use any other system that we want. I don't care. So we'll just test, okay, just to see if she's testable. So I would ask her if I did test. Thank you. Okay, I'll choose a strong arm, but I'm not going to push very hard. I stay off the joints, so I'm just pushing right here. I ask her to think of her full name, like I am, and keep thinking of her full name. Okay, I give her just a few moments to do that. Then I'm also sensing the energy going through her body. You might want to practice doing that. Okay, and then I ask her, may I test? Okay, so I just say to her, I'm going to test. I want you to resist me. Do not let me push down. Resist me. Think of your full name. Resist. Okay, I use just a little bit of force. I'm just seeing how strong that shoulder is. Okay? Okay, one more time. Resist me again. Resist. Just a little bit of force, and it locks in place. It's very hard for me to push down any further than that. Just a small amount of force. Then I have her continue to think of her full name. I touch just above the eyes. I retest, keep thinking of your full name. Okay, and then I'm not even using much pressure, but in fact it's just the weight of my arm pushing her arm down. She's getting that weak. Now that's a healthy response. That tells us that if I break her energetic systems, she responds appropriately. If that arm does not go weak, when I test it this way, if that arm is still very strong, just like it was with her name, and I touch this spot and it's still very strong, now we have an autonomic nervous system functioning problem. We have either parasympathetic or sympathetic problems. We have adrenal problems. We have stress that's breaking down our body too much. So we want a clear separation between those two. Now, if there's not, then ask David or ask myself and we'll come in and help a little bit. Okay, but let's go back to an issue that you've been dealing with. And again, you don't tell people what the issue is. This is private, but make it very strong, whatever it is. Let's drop the arm for a moment.
Don't have to think about it.
There she goes. Okay, ready? Okay, so think of that issue. Resist me now. And I'm not pushing very hard. Okay? But let's do a little test. Suppose you were to give yourself permission to put the Trinity here, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, angels, and again, use your version of this. I don't care what your version of this is, but let's just give her permission to do that. Okay, so so give your spirit permission to let all those entities in. Okay, let them in. You see them cross over to the brain heart area. That's it. Keep going. Let's test. Okay? You ready? Resist me now. Resist. Still weak. Still weak. It'll take some time. But let's test this product. Right there. Let's hold that right there. And let's see what we get. Okay, ready? Resist me now. Resist. Still weak. Very good. Very good. She's really holding on to this. Really holding on. Let's go to that one.
Right, Karen?
Really holding on to this one. This is good. Ready? Resist me now. Resist. There we go. There we go.
Might not
Every
taking
one.
this one yet?
That's what I was gonna ask. I probably have some on the shelf somewhere.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's just that simple. So, pick someone as a partner. Let's get started. Meet here back here. Any questions?
When you have your statement,
Question.
when you have your statement of what you want, your permission, and you go through this, how often do you say that? Is it every day, in the morning and at night, whatever you feel like doing?
Good question. What's the answer?
Not one time, let it roll.
Basically, Lexi, would you mind standing? Please.
Instead, I thought I was given permission and letting it rip. You know, that was it. I'm just letting it go. I'm trusting that it's going, and I'm like doing something.
Yeah.
But
Good.
I personally, when I did it the other night,
Right.
is I was reinforced. That's why I did it, is to and I'll not say energize, but just continue to reinforce it.
Okay.
And
there's
then for me, it energized it even more,
Okay.
kicked it up a notch.
And that's possible. Yeah.
I thank it every morning for running.
Okay. Okay. So the answer is at least just once, and if you forget about it, it's going to work. If you want to do more, that's up to you. Just don't be obsessive. Okay?
What about the interrupting energies that we talked about in one of our first sessions here, and shifts and changes?
Stand up. That's a very good statement. Very good statement. Please.
I said, what about the interrupting energies and entities that we talked about in one of our first sessions here, and shifts and changes, and I believe you have to kind of redo this.
Okay. So there could be negative entities, there could be spirits, whatever you want to call them, that will try to stop you. Now, Sharon made comments about this earlier this week. Maybe some of you have felt this too. It would be very wise in your statement that you make, this I statement that I'm making about God and angels and everyone else, that you also put in there that I'm also free of any outside interference during this period of time. So thank you. It would be wise to put that. Okay? It certainly wouldn't hurt. Making sense?
Or you can also say only those entities who are for my highest and best, who want my highest and best. That covers the same.
Okay. Yeah, however you want to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Good question. Good answer. Anything else? Sure. Oh, go ahead.
When you're trying to get an answer to a question, and basically you just kind of released it, and you're just wanting to observe it sometime, could come in a lot of different ways. And let's say an idea, you just get an idea, you're thinking about this issue and a solution, and you have a thought about it, how do you know if that is your truth, if that's coming from spirit, or if your brain's always working and thinking, you just came up with an idea, and that's an idea?
That's a very good question. So what do you do?
Retest.
How often? 10,000 times, and then you start another 10,000 times, and then you do another 10,000 times, so you know the difference. Start making predictions. Go into the stock market, make predictions. Okay? Look at the light and close your eyes, stop light, and close your eyes and sense when the light's going to change. Then gun it. That's when you pass your test. I actually did that with a person in the car. I like doing this. I won't go into a story, but I've got a dark side. So I'll never forget the screen. But seriously though, seriously, you start making predictions. Lines in stores. Ask yourself, which line is going to be the fastest? Whatever you want to say. Put yourself on the line. Make predictions. Be wrong. Enjoy it. You'll never get there unless you are wrong. Now, the difference between the good and the great is the good will give up. They'll just think to themselves, if they flip a coin, it's going to be good enough. Okay? The great are going to analyze, why was I wrong? And they're going to deal with the hard issues. I can't even begin to tell you how many times I failed. I can't even begin to tell you. Okay, I don't fail very often now. But in the beginning, it was a lot of failure. But do you want it that bad? This has an incredible story it wants to reveal to you. Every one of us. An incredible story to make your life easier, faster, more efficient, to give you the things you've always wanted. Those dowsers that I lived with for 2 years, using the dowsing equipment, they did incredibly well. Incredibly well. They're incredibly gifted people. And if they were able to transfer over to this concept, I can't even begin to imagine what they could have accomplished too. Okay? The combinations of everything we're using, everything, I don't care how good it is just getting us to this point where you know the answers. You know the answers. And however you get there, it doesn't matter. But that's what this is trying to do. We know the answers. Fair? So you practice, and you practice, and you practice, and you'll get to a certain level of understanding, so that, for me, it's a feeling, because I'm a heart person, and when I get that feeling, I know that's the right answer. I know that's coming from Spirit. Now, I've had times when I've scanned people and I've said, wait a minute, there's something wrong. There's something wrong, maybe it's the wrong time of day, something's not right, I may need to walk away from it, come back. That's happened to me several times, a number of times. But in general, well, it goes right to the answer. Okay. Please.
So I've had a situation where I was working with pendulum, and then all of a sudden it just stopped. Like, it wasn't gonna budge. It was just not gonna budge. And it was like, okay, not now.
That's
Back
right.
later.
That's exactly right. And if you're tired, you're upset, and you're in the wrong situation around the wrong people, don't do it. You're wasting your time. Don't do it.
Well, that's the asking permission, and if you have energy, and if you're protected. And if the
Correct.
answer to any of those is no, you just put the tool down and you go on.
That's right. That's exactly right.
No.
That's right.
Okay.
Would you say that again, if you have?
Well, we ask permission, we ask if we have sufficient energy to use the tool, and whether or not you're fully protected from dark influences and
Right.
energy. And I don't know, I think Sharon would agree. I mean, I consider the tool a crutch. I mean, this is just something trying to get,
It's a tool.
it's a tool.
This is a tool.
You want to
This is
get
a
to
tool.
the antenna and not use any of these,
Right.
you know.
Right. This is just a tool. This is all tools. But until our brain and heart will give us permission to release our stories, until that brain and heart does that, and until we have to prove it to it, how many times, who knows, But at that point, when it realizes, brain and heart knows that this is true, it can no longer deny it, at that point the miracles happen. At that point. You're exactly correct.
I feel surprised enough when I douse when I know I'm not there.
That's right. That's right.
And I go, oh, okay.
That's right. It's our job to find any method possible to get us there. That's our job. So you want to be around people that understand these things, people that will encourage you. That's why it's so important to have friends, relatives, loved ones who understand this. You know, that's why getting you guys together, so you have a group here that you can work with, talk to. Invite other people, if you will, to these groups. I'm throwing this out as an idea because we said, well, we started off with one night, now we've gone to 3 weeks. Do you want to do a 4th week? I'm just asking. Show of hands. Do you want to do a 4th week? Okay. All right. Let me think about this. I'll check it. I'll check it with Spirit and see if we should do a 4th week. If not next week, then we'll come up with some other ideas and start some other classes later. It'll be interesting, I think. You guys are. Maybe I can meet you halfway. Yeah, this is good. Anything else? Anything else? Sure. Can I have you come up one more time, please? I'm curious about one thing. You see, when something gets me upset, I don't understand it, I've got to get the answer. So let's go back to what we did before. Okay? Let's go back to that thought, whatever that was. And let's imagine that she's starting this new program, going back into the Trinity, and she's cleared out 7 million statements. So we're going to give her permission to do that like this, just momentarily. Okay, so go back.
Am I thinking of the statement?
Just think of that negative situation.
Okay.
A negative situation. And I'm curious to see. Keep going. I'm asking the Spirit one. Okay, so let's test. Okay, you ready?
Ready.
Okay, resist me now. Resist. Okay, resist again. I mean, I'm pushing.
He is pushing.
I'm pushing. Now, thank you.
I got rid of 7 million?
No. I wish we did. But what we can do is we can use timing. We can go forward, backwards in time. We can give ourselves a minute or two where we're in the state we want to test and see the effects of that. Her Spirit would not let me go until I could do this. I took her into time, into the time necessary that she would clear 7 million statements. Okay? That might be a week, week and a half. But I took her into that period of time. Because her Spirit wanted me to show you that there's a program going on. That there are at least 7 million statements that are affecting her reaction to this thought. And until she clears out all those reactions, it's going to come back and come back and come back. And if I took her into time and then tested her in the present moment, but I took her into time, I could test to see if what her Spirit was telling me was true. Okay? So now we're going to come back to the present moment. So come back to the present moment.
I only started my statement last night when you showed it to me.
Okay, that's good. So we're going to bring her back to the present moment. We have to bring her back because her body's not capable yet of going a week and a half forward. So come back, come back, come back. Good. Okay. All right, so think of that idea. Resist me now. Good. Thank you. Thank you.
What
Okay.
did that mean?
Well, that meant that I've got you back in time, so your body now will take you forward correctly, and now you'll be sequenced properly. You'll know who, well, I won't go into all the details, but it's just,
I'm on the right track.
yes, if you want to mess someone up, take them backwards or forwards in time, and don't leave them there. Yes.
I had a question earlier. You mentioned it another day
Yeah.
about how a question or an energy moved from one side to the other side,
Mhm.
and you didn't go remind us what those two sides were.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, for example, I'll go back to Sherry. When she was thinking about this idea and clearing this and letting it run, when she started yesterday, it started on her left side. Left side deals with our emotions or belief systems. So whatever these issues are, she needs to clear out emotions and belief systems, and then it will start automatically moving over towards the right side, and the right side deals with money, business, clothes, cars, everything in three-dimensional space. Now, for some people, it may start on the left side and move to the right. I'm sorry, move from the right side over to the left. It may start that way. It just depends on the person and the situations. Okay? Did I answer the question?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, one more.
When you were working with Sherry there, you moved her into the future. Is that something we're supposed to be able to do?
No, don't do that. Please don't do that.
That's
No, you stay right here. It's just that when I get a result that I don't understand, I can't let it go. I have to understand it. Her spirit was giving me the answer. I wanted to know why, in spite of the fact that she started the program, why she was still weak when we did it the first time. Well, then her spirit told me later that I should take her forward into time as though we cleared out 7 million of these statements. So that's what I want to test. So I want you to see it. She started the program, it's working, but she needs more time to get to those 7 million statements. Am I clear? Okay. So that's what I'm trying to say is, if you get something you don't understand, please have the enthusiasm to go further and take it further. Okay?
But not back in time, not in the future.
Well, you're right. Don't go backwards or forwards in time. Stay in the present moment. Okay? All right. Jack is going to measure one of the members here, on students, in the next room. If you want to watch that process, James, would you mind if they were to watch what?
No, it'd be fine.
Thank you, thank you. So if you want to watch what Jack's doing and to see what he's doing with this Mead 100, so you can kind of see how we're getting answers to all of these meridians and all of these areas very simply and fast, I'll be more than happy to show. Okay? So, okay, I want to go in the back.
For computer testing, that where you said that you felt like you could get 70% there by doing the testing, and then deal with the other 30% of the emotional and so on after that.
Right.
If a person doesn't do the testing, then are you just kind of treating the symptoms and not getting to the root
No.
when you're doing
No.
products, or what?
Now, there's another issue with this. The same day that I bring this equipment in, I had a person come to the office who had, quote, unresolved lab test. His medical doctor doesn't understand what's going on. He comes in for a reading, so I tell him it's the liver. It's a liver issue. And he says, okay, show me on this lab test where we're having problems with the liver. Well, the liver was in range, but barely in range. So he goes, but it's still in range. So I said, well, let's have Jack measure you, and let's see what we get. Jack gives me back the answers, shows me the graphs, and guess what's out? Liver. Then he tells me, I'll do anything you ask. People sometimes need to see this. And also it's a good starting point, because in the future, if you go someplace else, you do something else, I don't see you for a while, if we need to retest, at least you've got a starting point so you know where you are and where you're going.
Doesn't that indicate that we're too believing the ranges? I mean, the ranges, what do the ranges mean anyway? And for any individual person, in or out of the range, could mean different things.
The norm for bound.
Well, not everyone thinks like you're thinking. Okay, not everyone believes, understands
Nobody
this.
else does.
I've been told that.
That's a smart statement. But for a lot of people, unless they have that empirical data, and they have the clinical data right there, and they can see it without any question, it makes my job go a whole lot more difficult. So I would like to use this to clear up any type of uncertainty, look at the data, and if there's a question, I may scan something if there's a question, but at least it gets us into the ballpark in a good range, and we can see what's going on fast. Okay? And then we can take it from there. Okay?
I just want to say something about that range. I had someone I knew who had a history of thyroid problems and was taking thyroid medicine, and whenever they went and had their lab test done, it said their thyroid was in normal range. And yet she had, her fingernails were falling off. They were just coming right off, right from the bed. They were just falling off. It's a rare symptom of hypothyroid. So the body tells more than a lab test. But the thing is, medical world just needs the lab test. They don't, you know, they don't look at the fingernails and say, oh, that's not good.
That's very good. So anyway, I'll let you know next week if we're going to have another class. But right now, I can't thank you enough. I hope this helped, give you some things to think about. If you have any questions, let me know later. But I hope we hug each other.
Okay, all the time. Questions, questions, questions.
All right.
Or I can get it for you Wednesday or
Probably
Tuesday.
gonna measure you 2 times, but let me measure you 1 time first. Put this clip on you.
You're the PMG.
Okay, it's not too tight, right?
No.
PMG, yeah. Just buy it.
Okay.
Well, you can't do it today, but I'm just
Okay,
saying.
you ready?
Don't.
Like I've been doing these hours in a day before here, but I realized that you have to go from here to here and keep the focus here rather than just going from here to here. If your head hurts, you have a tendency to make a connection from here, and I think it makes a big difference going from here versus from here. And I think a lot of people who are head people are also here, and it's harder for them to ground. Yeah, I've had because also when muscle testing and you tell a person to connect, ask both of them to do the same thing so that way the field expands and it becomes stronger rather than okay you do it and you know, so that it helps to expand the field and make this connection stronger.
Okay. Just slide around.
Yeah. Even if they're just trying to make the connection. So, yeah. Aren't you just like supporting them though? Yeah, you see so many people.
Third one is sorry. I know, but in the first one, we had
Some people are fine with beef. Some people have a lot of bad stuff to lose. Yeah, no, yeah, that's true. Some people are they're very clean. They're easy. It's not like they have to be. Yeah, some people have some really dark stuff. Yeah, that's true. I forgot. There's some product you can use for protection. The sacred sage works really well. Yeah, I know what you say. But I hurt myself too much.
Check the results.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's doing it, yes, he's doing electric connections. Yeah, because I don't work in the same. It's nice to get objective data.
practice. I've had been asking these questions. This one is a really information. When I say information, I saw this guy. I'm not asking.
I'm gonna measure you 1 more time with the high potential. Okay. Because last time I measured for normal, and Dr. Gary asked me to measure with the high potential. It's more sensitive way to measure it. So I'm gonna go through that. Go through it 1 more time.
Yes, until the end of this month, so I've got a copy. 2 more weeks. See, I have this opportunity for work after that. It's my job.
Thank you so much.
I don't want
Face up. Okay.
It works very well. It works very well.
Well, really, this is not.
But take a look.
That works. Okay. Yep, you're done.